Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Raising the New Earth. This is Noah. Hey, Brooke.
Hi, Noah.
Today we have Dr. Roy Gonik. Dr. Roy Gonik is a sought-after practitioner, a lecturer, a doctor of Chinese medicine and naturopathy. He specializes in women's health, fertility, anti-aging, natural cosmetics, homotoxicology, and modern homeopathy. Welcome to Raising the New Earth. Dr. Roy, how are you today?
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I'm doing well, thank you. Good to
Good.
be here.
Good. We're so happy that you're here. We brought you on the show um, with a recommendation of a dear friend that was also on our show, Dr. Kelly Carter. And we just thought this is a good opportunity for us to explore life's kaleidoscopes of experiences that we're all feeling. And personally, I have been feeling this paradoxical blend of joy and sorrow, love and sadness. And I found myself in moments of profound beauty and richness and happiness blend with sadness as really a testament to the same coexistence within life's inherent contradictions. So let's speak a little bit about your background and what has brought you to practicing what you practice now in your clinic.
All right. Well, I've been practicing for just over 26 years. I have a successful clinic in Israel, and I've been seeing patients also in different places in the world, in Europe, in England, in Germany, in Greece, and in the States, both on the physical level, so seeing them hands-on, doing actual Chinese medicine, and also doing online consultations. I've been lecturing in quite a few places in the world, but mainly my work until today was mainly in Israel. I've been teaching at the Wingate Academy for Natural Medicine, and have been teaching also homeopathy on a professional level for postgrads in the natural field. So I'm the director of Dr. Rekavig's homeopathic medicine company, not the director, but the professional director of Dr. Rekavig in Israel, and been doing so for quite a few years. Since I would say it's about 20 years that I understood that what I learned was amazing, but the main sides that I studied were mostly the physical sides, the physical aspects. So you have pain, you treat it in such and such, you give these herbs, you do this acupuncture point, you feel hormone imbalance, these are the hormones, these are the vitamins, these are the points, etc. And I was working mainly on the physical aspect, but I saw that there's so much more, and I understood that the emotional aspect, the spiritual aspect, the mind spirit body connection was much more well, it was affecting the body in so many ways that I understood that I really had to learn it. I really had to understand how this is working. And it started an amazing journey with my dear friend, Dr. Darren Weissman, who actually introduced me to an amazing technique called the Lifeline technique. And that actually opened the gates. And since then, it's just been flooding the understanding and the in-depth, which is also, I think it's infinite, the depth of it, but understanding really the connection of our mind, our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, our spiritual aspect, and how all the emotional sides are affecting the physical sides. So basically, if I would like to give it kind of like a rule of thumb to say that every symptom is connected to an emotion, to a thought, to a belief that was internalized, denied, or disconnected at one point or another in your life. And when you understand that and you can start linking these points, then the magic happens. And so this took me on this path that not only working with hormones, which I love. I love hormones, and I love the endocrine system, and I love working with in the field of fertility and in natural aspects of it. But understanding that there's so many emotional aspects to it that we need to understand, and then to help the people balance those emotional aspects to bring the physical aspect back into balance. So not only treat the symptom, but treat treat the roots, and then see better fruit. So this is my world. It's been very exciting, and I can say that every day is exciting to get up and know that you're creating a change. You know, even if it's one-on-one or it's with many, but it's that's my journey. So
It's a beautiful journey.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so much of what we talk about on our podcast, just, you know, that it goes so much beyond just a physical healing, and looking at all of the different emotions and the spiritual aspects. You mentioned like the lifeline technique, and I don't either speaking to that specifically, or just kind of even if you've gone beyond that, but I would love to hear more on how you treat and help your patients on that level of healing. And if it's ever, because sometimes I also wonder, you know, when someone is closed off to more of those sort of healing aspects, does it work as well? And how you can kind of maybe get someone to open to that path, and kind of your thoughts around all of that.
Right. Yeah. So I would say that well, one very good way to communicate with the body is using kinesiology, and I do that. And the lifeline is about understanding the symptoms on all those levels that I just mentioned, and the way to find out what the body is speaking, what the subconscious is speaking, is through muscle testing. So it's applied kinesiology, and which I've been doing for over 2 decades. And so this is I feel that often when people see that we can kind of play with the energy of their body, and they see that they don't really have an effect on how their muscle is weak or strong, gives them kind of an understanding that I can ask the questions and get answers that they don't necessarily consciously know, although the subconscious does have that. And so I often contemplated, is the person in front of me ready, willing to do something that is kind of weird? You know, we're doing kind of a dog and pony show. We're working with their muscles, and I'm talking to the body and asking questions. And as I grew older, I understood more today than ever, not to judge, and then just be. And often I would find that after I would even treat a patient for a year or two, and then I say, okay, you know what? He knows me well enough. He trusts me well enough. Let's just do the lifeline, or let's just do some kinesiology and do some magic. And once I do it, they're saying, what was that? And I explain, and then they say, and that is often the comment that I get, why did we not do that before? And then you understand that basically people, even if they are cynical, even if they have doubts, people want to feel the change. And everybody wants to feel good. And if you can help them elevate those symptoms, they don't really care how you did it. You know, if you did abracadabra, or you just help them release the emotion that was stuck there for so many years, that was creating the shoulder pain, or the emotion or the negative limiting belief that made the lady not able to conceive, you know. So I see it so often. That I think that the main thing is my self-conviction that makes other people understand that this is something that can help them. Okay, so yeah, I think this is, I hope you understand that this is my the way that I feel today, that once I have this conviction, I know that what I'm doing will help, and they just go with the flow. So yeah, that's that. And you asked Noah, you asked about the lifeline. Yeah, of course I do the lifeline. It's a full technique. And the reason I got involved in it, and I love it so much, is because it integrates so many modules from natural medicine, and it has in it a very in-depth understanding of the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, and it has, of course, the applied kinesiology, and it has NLP in it, and it has NET in it, and it has so many aspects. It has the chakra system in it. So there's a lot of modules in it that create one big system. So some people will say that it kind of looks like Theta healing, and some will say that it's we call it Moach Echad, one brain. It doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, it's me and the person in front of me that's looking for a relief of a symptom, and we just go in and try to understand what are those emotions, what are those thoughts, what are those beliefs that are limiting that person from healing. And when we get there, things start to move. And then, of course, I integrate the food, nutrition, the herbs, the vitamins, the acupuncture point, and so it's everything together. It just works as one. And even if a person comes in with doubt, once they feel the difference, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I'll share. I have a patient of mine. The guy is an engineer, right? So you can kind of imagine where it's going, right? And his wife is an extremely spiritual person. She actually channels. She's amazing. And her husband is the 180-degree opposite. Very, very down to earth. Everything has to be in squares and rubicles. Everything has to be exact and accurate and well explained, right? Anything that is spiritual or virtual does not exist. So don't talk to me about quackery, etc. And he came to me after she tried to convince him for over 2 years to come to me. Finally, he did. Why? The symptom was just too overwhelming and nobody else helped him. So he said, hey, you know what? Might as well go to whoever, and just do something. And he came in, and because he was in such pain, he did not care. And he said to me, I don't believe in this stuff. I don't care. Whatever you do, just do it. Finish with it, get done with it, and we'll see. So usually I don't take patients like that. Usually I don't, because you want to have a person on board. You want to have the naysayer, you want to have the yes sayer, you don't want to work with people that are naysayers. So you want to have somebody that comes in with a positive attitude. But really his partner was really begging. She said, you know what, he's suffering, really just do something. And I did. So the first treatment was purely physical. Boom, needles, they hurt. So after the treatment, he said, okay, you know what, maybe you're not a quack. Okay, I feel something. Second treatment, we started talking. Okay, so, oh my God, we're sharing thoughts and emotions, and we're talking about belief systems. And the third session was already no talking, just, well, I was doing a lot of talking with his body, but it wasn't like just a conversation. We were doing kinesiology, and we were doing the lifeline technique, and we were doing a lot of beautiful energetic changes. And we ended that, and he was looking at me with these cow eyes, puzzled completely. What did you do? I said, well, should I explain? He said, no. I don't need to know what did you do, but what did you do? And he just felt no pain. He was just relieved of the pain. And last week, his friend came in for a treatment. Okay, so he was started already recommending. And that was just an engineer that said, you know what, no natural medicine, only my doctor knows what's best, only my medical doctor will give me the right medications. So I think eventually everybody wants to be relieved of their symptoms, and people want to have good results. And so if you can present it in a natural, painless way, why not?
Yeah, that's such a powerful story, because I think that oftentimes, especially in this space, or at least I feel this, and I have many people, many friends and family who are more in that logical space. And so to try to explain logically doesn't always work, but it shows that when someone is, kind of exhausted other options, and they come in and feel the incredible power of, this sort of, energetic type healing, then you don't need to say anything else, because they feel it. And that's,
I do love to blend with all this natural and spiritual stuff, also the science.
yeah,
And then do show them that it's not only air. There is actual proof behind it. And so I love using a lot of the information about epigenetics and understanding how our genes are actually affected by our surroundings, understanding how our genes are affected by what we eat, how our genes are affected by what we breathe or what we drink, and how our genes are affected by what we think, feel, believe. And once we understand it, and we can actually show physical evidence, scientific proof of how this is affecting our health, then it also helps us create this communication and create the trust with our patients, to understand that we can actually help them.
Yeah.
And in that sense, one of the things that I really love to simplify on the emotional aspect is basically the choice. And the choice that is between love and fear. And for me, these are the two basic emotions that from them we can kind of spiral out all the other emotions. But these are the true two emotions, love and fear. And which one do we choose? Which one do we choose to vibrate on? What is the vibration of our heart? Is it the vibration of love, or is it the vibration of fear? Are we affected on our day-to-day, on the emotional aspect of it, with the choice of being in fear or the choice of being in love, or being with love? And I love using these two emotions as something that I communicate with my patients, with my students, in my lectures, because I see life kind of like a switch, right? So we have a click on, off, same as our genes know how to click on and off. Our emotions know how to click on and off. And so we can imagine the light switch that we click on, love, click it off, fear. And where is it clicking? Okay, is it clicked up or down? What is the vibration, or what is the frequency that we are living in? And once we understand that we always have the choice to choose love and not fear. And that does not mean that we do not feel those emotions. I live I live partially in Israel, and I'm here actually most of the week. And I can tell you that I've been scared, and we had some very, very scary times here. And then you can again make the choice. Do you want to be in fear, in anxiety? Do you want to fear for your life? Do you want to live in this stressed emotional state, or do you want to change that? And how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you change it? How do you go from a state of being in fear, being in anxiety, being in the emotions that will follow, such as being just down or wishy-washy or even depressed, to the state of love? How do you do it? And so if you don't mind, I will talk about that for a second.
Please.
Because it relates to our whole conversation about what I call the healing power of love, and understanding basically that we do have all the time the choice that will affect our health if we keep a certain state of mind. And there's a beautiful quote by the amazing writer Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl said that between the stimulus and the reaction, there's a space. And that space is where we have the choice to how we're going to react to that stimulus. And whatever it is that we choose to react will affect how we evolve, and will affect, of course, how we react. And once we make that choice, we can then affect how our future will look like. And I did not quote him verbatim, but that's the idea. And so basically, we are all the time affected, and we are all the time exposed to stimuli. We are stimulated by what we see on TV. We are stimulated by what we are hearing on the radio, by media, by friends, by whatever, by the driver that cuts us in the highway, by our spouses. And how we react, we have that space, which is totally our own responsibility, right? Are we going to react in fear? Are we going to react with love? Are we going to react with compassion, patience? Are we going to react with anger, resentment? What is the way that we are going to react? And that responsibility is on us. Once we react, that will affect everything else after that. And my choice in all this havoc that is going on right now in the world, and specifically here in the Middle East, is to choose love, which is very challenging in a situation like this, because I can tell you that the natural instinct was totally different.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have very dear friends that lost part of their families, and I have close friends that are inside of Gaza, and I have people that I know. Israel is a very small country, and everybody knows directly or indirectly people that were victimized by this horrific situation. And then there's the choice. Am I going to carry the anger? Am I going to carry the resentment? And am I going to walk in the streets with fear? Or do I choose love? And again, it's very challenging. So does that mean that I need to love the Hamas? No, it does not mean that. You can if that's your choice, but that's not what I mean. I mean choosing love, and that is being grateful and being I feel the emotion awe. That's what I feel, and being grateful and feeling love and passion to my family, to my friends, to my neighbors, to my people, to the soldiers, to the victims, sending love. So changing the vibration from a fight to love changes a lot inside of me as well, and then feeling that I can do this that change outwards as well. So it's changing the frequency that we spoke about earlier. So we choose to be in a frequency of love or fear. I choose to be in the frequency of love by really seeing the things that I'm grateful for, the things that I have love to, and I am compassionate about, and I have passion for, and then radiating that energy out. So, and that's a healing power. Okay. And if we have time, we can talk about the different emotions that are related to each of the 5 elements in Chinese medicine. And these emotions, oh my God, do I see them working extra hours now in these times? And the last month, it's been crazy. So if you want, we can talk about that as well.
Brooke, I feel you have a question.
Well, I don't have a question necessarily. I just want to acknowledge, especially just, where you physically are located, because I think that oftentimes when we talk of this idea of love and higher frequencies, it's coming from a place where, it's easy. We don't have maybe as much darkness surrounding us. And when you have darkness surrounding you, whether it's something that's happening on, a global scale, but that's right in your backyard, or even something that is within your own family, something like a tragedy or something, it's just a whole, it's still a choice. And I love but it can feel like a harder choice. So yeah. So I love, just being able to talk with you at this time, especially because I think that it's much needed. And when you say, that, we can put ourselves in the frequency of love, and especially when I think of a situation of what's occurring right now, specifically in the Middle East. And, Noah and I talked a bit when we had an episode kind of talking about this, just the two of us on the podcast, but that it's going to take a miracle. And I don't mean that as like, oh, just a miracle needs to come down. I mean, to me, that means that there needs to be enough people that are willing to hold the frequency of love, and only then can a miracle occur. And that actually is a real tangible thing that can happen. But the only way that it can happen is by holding that frequency of love and light. And so I just want to acknowledge that. And I think that especially with you being where you are and being able to hold that frequency and know that that's a choice, and being able to help people, give them the tools, is quite literally changing the world. So
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I agree that it does take more than one person to do this and hold that energy and hold that frequency to create the change. I understood. I was recently in Tuscany, actually, in an amazing a 1-week seminar, which was about the healing power of passion. And I felt with the group of people of 20 that we are creating a change. We are creating a change, and I think that you don't have to be a huge group to create the change. I think you just need enough to make it. And of course, we're all hurting. We're all feeling emotions. We all feel, and it's not necessarily only here in Israel, it's all anywhere you are in the world. You know, we are humans, we feel, and that is great, and that is okay, as long as we don't stagnate that emotion, we don't hold it and not let go. So it does not mean that I'm never angry, of course. Does not mean that I'm not sad. I see what's going on, and that creates sadness, it creates sorrow. But then do you choose to just dwell into that emotion and stay there and be in that heavy, dark place, or do you make a choice to live and put life at the highest value, that the living is the most important thing? And then in order to do that, from my own understanding, it's changing the frequency, and that is moving, as I said, from fear to love. Yeah.
What you speak
So-
about, that we are all feeling it, right? There's a, in quantum physics, they call it entanglement. So
Yeah.
yes, we're all feeling the pain. Personally, I feel that I find myself being caught in that cognitive dissonance and duality of emotional roller coaster. So I can feel the ebbs and flows. I can feel the love and I can feel the sadness at that same time. And it's important for our listeners and our audience to know that they're not alone, and we are all feeling it. And I think that is kind of part of the profound beauty, in a way, if we can call it like this, that fragility that lies within the intricate polarities that life is all about. So if you don't mind, yes, we would love to tap into the 5 elements of ancient Chinese wisdom. Maybe we can draw some more from that to help us.
Amazing. And if you want, I can pull it up as a slide, but however, so you
Yeah, those that
you
are on
do that?
YouTube will be able to see it. Those that are listening to us on other podcast platforms won't be able to see it, obviously.
Okay, so we can do it, but I'm going to also explain it well enough that that even if it's you can't see it, you'll understand.
Beautiful.
Okay, so
Oh, I
before
see Emoto.
Mhm.
Emoto Yasuro.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to share, and that also has to do with love and fear. I'm just going to turn it off for a second, so it will then. That's my experience with doing Zooms. You got to do it twice in order for it to flip. Okay, so okay, you can see it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so basically, what I'm showing now is the slides of the the water drops that Masaru Emoto, Dr. Masaru Emoto, an amazing Japanese scientist, the late Dr. Masaru Emoto, found that basically water, the molecules of water are they react to sound, they react to thoughts, they react to emotions, and he did an amazing experiment with hundreds of samples from the same water that was put into different vials, and on each vial they put either a name, a word, or it was given music to hear, and they found out that the positive words, the words that had a positive meaning, such as happiness, such as beautiful, such as love, created beautiful symmetrical crystals. And the ones that were negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative words created unsymmetrical, pretty ugly water crystals. And so here you can see 3 different ones. One is the crystal of the word beautiful. One is of happiness, which, by the way, it looks very similar to the crystal of hope, hatikva, hope. And the left one is love and gratitude. And basically, love and gratitude created the strongest, most symmetrical crystal, water crystal. And by the way, that was Dr. Darren Weissman's inspiration to use the words love and gratitude as the healing power words used in the treatment of the lifeline. Okay, so let me just flip. Okay, the 5 elements. So as a Chinese medicine doctor, I've been using the 5 elements basically for everything in my life. Everything, just say it. I use the 5 elements today, maybe a bit less, but I use it for almost anything, and even answering my wife in certain things, I would just use it. So me being the geek Chinese medicine doctor, I use 5 elements on anything. But basically, each element, the fire, the earth, the metal, the water, the wood, are the 5 elements of our nature, of our world. And Chinese medicine understood these 5 elements, understanding the element of fire, the element of earth, the element of metal, the element of water, the element of wood, as the elements that hold together our beautiful planet and work together, as these all 5 elements work in harmony to create harmony in the world. And the Chinese understood that these elements do not only reside outside in nature, but they also reside inside ourselves. They're part of who we are. We are also built and structured out of these 5 elements. And in each of us, we have these elements in different places. The elements, each one has to do with what emotions we feel, what emotions are in motion, and which ones are not. What are our tendencies towards symptoms? What are our tendencies towards the taste that we like or don't? What are our tendencies towards patterns of thought? And all those have to do with the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. And so if we think of the elements, the top element, the fire element, has to do with emotions such as fright or mania, frightfully overjoyed, feeling lost. Those emotions are related to the fire element. Now, each element, when it's in balance, these emotions may be there on a very, very, very slight, not a pattern, but they can show themselves very, very slightly and for very short periods of time. We can be frightened by a strong noise, right? So the emotion, the element fire will react when we hear a strong noise. We can be extremely happy when we meet somebody that we haven't seen for a long time. So we'll have a lot of joy surging, but once it subsides, it goes back to normal, right? So emotions, as long as they are in motion, are okay. And each element in our body works at certain hours of the day, and each element has to do with specific emotions that, as long as they are in motion and they're for a short time, they're fine. If they are stuck and they start to surge and start to overflow, then we see symptoms. So being all the time in fright mode, or being in mania, or being frightfully overjoyed, those are emotions that are not balanced. Okay, the other element is the fire element, which has to do with worry, with excessive thinking, with low self-esteem. The element metal has to do with sadness, with sorrow, with longing. The element water has to do with fear, anxiety, feeling wishy-washy, down, kind of like somebody under the water, so it's a bit down, okay? The element wood has to do with the emotions anger, resentment, depression, jealousy, bitterness. Those emotions are related to each element, as I just mentioned. So the element earth, can we worry? So are we worried because of something objective? Okay, maybe Our kid is riding on a skateboard outside right now, and we don't know if he has the helmet or not. So we are a bit worried. But when he comes back in, do we keep on worrying, or does that go away? Excessive thinking. Okay. What are we going to do? Am I going to do that? I'm going to choose this. Should I go left? Should I go right? Should I go to this place? Should I take that job? Should I take that husband? What should I do? Thinking. That can make our earth element extremely tired. And once that happens, it gets out of balance. I'll explain what it means. The element metal has to do with sadness, sorrow. So are we sad when somebody that we love is not with us anymore? Yeah, of course. But do we keep that sadness and become in sorrow, and we don't let go of it, and we don't really continue living? Then that element gets out of balance. Okay? The element water, fear, anxiety. Can we feel fear? If there's a Siberian tiger running after me, should I be afraid? Hell yeah. But if there is no tiger, should I keep on being afraid that maybe one day there will be one, and then I start being anxious about it? That's an imbalance. Okay? The wood element has to do with anger, with resentment, with depression. So you feel an emotion, you feel anger, you're angry about something that can really, excuse my French, piss you off. Okay? But should I dwell in it? Should I stay angry? Should I turn that anger into resentment? Should I turn that anger into bitterness? Or should I just let go of it? And so each emotion, if it's short and it's in motion, is okay. And that has to do with the flow of life. So the fire will feed the earth will feed the metal will feed the water will feed the wood would feed the fire, etc. And that will be the cycle of life, the circle of life that has to do with nature, but also with us. So each element has to do with different organs. The element fire has to do with our heart, with our small intestine, with our endocrine system. The earth has to do with our pancreas, our spleen, our stomach. The metal has to do with our lungs, our large intestine, or the colon. The water element has to do with kidneys, bladder, and the wood has to do with our liver and our gallbladder. So each emotion that has to do with an element will affect these organs accordingly. So if a person is frightfully overjoyed, how will his heart be affected? And vice versa. Maybe somebody that his heart is out of balance will feel those emotions. What will happen when the endocrine system is out of whack? When the thyroid is not functioning properly, and the ovaries are not functioning properly, and maybe the adrenal is not secreting the right hormones, or it's secreting too many of a certain hormone, and then the fire element gets out of balance and those emotions start to appear. Same thing with our pancreas, spleen, or stomach. What will happen when the pancreas is a bit inflamed? How will it affect the earth element, and how will it affect the emotional state that the person is in? And so you may find somebody that has diabetes, and the emotional state is continuous worrying. Okay? The lungs. What happens when somebody has asthma and we don't understand why they're sad? Do you know that there's I don't remember who did it, so please forgive me if you're hearing it and I did not mention your name, but there was a great experiment that showed the proof. It was actually published in The Lancet. quite a few years back, but it showed the connection between breast cancer and sadness, breast cancer and sorrow. It showed the connection, okay? And the lungs, which are exactly under the breast, have to do with the emotion, sadness, sorrow, longing. The water element, kidneys, bladder. What happens when the bladder is not functioning properly, when it's too weak, when the sphincters are too weak? What happens when the kidneys are not filtering properly? And suddenly we see the emotions of fear, anxiety, feeling wishy-washy coming up. And vice versa. A person that's feeling fear all the time suddenly has UTIs, often urinary tract infections, because fear is all the time in the system. Okay, so you see the connection? So it's pretty cool that we can see how these emotions, when they're not in motion, affect the organs. When the organs are not in balance, how they affect the emotions. So it's a cycle. And I'd like to connect the taste. Do we have enough time? We have time? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. So I'd like to connect these organs and these elements to the different tastes, because eventually, even when we connect to the emotion and we connect to the belief, the thought that was creating the problem, we also need eventually to know what we're going to eat, and we need to know what our body should and should not eat or should not have. And when we understand what emotion is not in motion, what organ is not functioning properly, then we know what foods we can and cannot give. And in Chinese medicine, we relate it to the taste. Not only, there's also energetic of hot and warm and humid and dry, etc. That's a whole different story, and I'm not going to go there, but we're going to talk about the taste. And here, everything has to do about balance. Balance. So the fire element, remember, endocrine system, small intestine, heart, has to do with it, with the taste of spicy or bitter. And the earth, which has to do with the pancreas, the spleen, the stomach, has to do with the sweet taste. And the metal, which has to do with the lungs and large intestine, has to do with sour, pungent, spicy. The water element, kidney, bladder, has to do with salty. And the wood element, which has to do with the gallbladder and liver, enjoys the taste of bitter or sour. Now, as I said, everything is about balance. So if we love to eat spicy foods, the ones that really burn your tongue, how good is it for us? Should we eat those? The answer is yes, but a little. But if we all the time eat spice, what's going to happen? We're going to create an imbalance in the fire element or in the metal element, depends what kind of spice it is. Sweet. Yes, please.
Well, yeah, can I just as far as like cravings are concerned, so if you're having like a strong craving for like sweet or something salty, or like is that communicating that that element is out of balance? Or
Exactly, Brooke. Yes, exactly. You're absolutely correct. So the craving will give us a great understanding of what organ is out of balance. So if we're craving for sweets, guess what? The earth element, probably the spleen, the pancreas, and stomach, are out of balance. Should we give sweet at that point? What do you guys think? Go for it.
I don't know, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I kind of would think no, like that if we're having that craving, it means that it's like over dominant. So we need to do something to balance it with another element. Yeah, but
cool. Okay, so that's a great way of thinking of it. And there is some it is right in a certain way. But when one craves sweet, we should give them sweet. But the sweet that we're thinking about right now, like a Kit Kat bar or something, that's not what I'm talking about. We need to give the natural sweet. So maybe some nuts, maybe some almonds, maybe some cashews, maybe a banana, maybe an apple. So we're giving sweet, but we're giving the right amount of sweet that the body actually needs and not more. Okay? If we crave salt, should we just put a chunk of salt on our food? Or should we eat something that is naturally salty, such as a sea fish or algae? Okay? If we want something bitter, should we go and now put a lot of different bitter sauces, etc.? Or should we have something that has a slight bitter taste like lettuce or kale? You get it? So basically, when one feels that urge for that taste, that is a great sign. That is amazing communication with us to know, okay, let me give you that taste, but we're going to give it in the right way, in the balanced way that nature has created, and not the way that the factory has created.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
That how you fulfill the craving.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can also play with it. So basically, if you can imagine that, well, whoever can see the screen now, so can see it. But if you can imagine, let me just, maybe I can draw it. Maybe I can draw it. Let me see if I can draw it. Oh, that's great. Here we go.
You can tell that Dr. Roy is a professor. He's ready with the whole presentation. He knows his way around Zoom lecturing.
So let's say that the metal, and you see my arrow is going towards the wood, right? And then I'm going to do one. Okay, let's put that here. And then the wood is going to go towards the earth. And then the earth is going to go towards the water. And then the water is going to go towards the fire. And the fire is going to go towards the metal. So basically what you can see is this star, that each element also can control the element with the arrow towards it. So as you said before, Brooke, that if I want sweet, and maybe I shouldn't have sweet, maybe I should take something that will kind of contraindicate it, balance it out. And you're right. So what I would do, if somebody really is craving a lot of chocolate and sweets, I'm going to work on the wood element and give him natural, bitter, sour foods that will help to relieve the need for the sweet by strengthening the wood element, etc. And so if somebody really loves salty, I'm going to give him naturally sweet foods, strengthening the earth element to balance the water, and so forth. Okay? Yeah. So yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. Yeah. All right.
And we see it a lot, for those that come to a health coach or nutritionist or dietitian, we see that a lot. So that explanation is actually very helpful. What can you crowd out? What can you bring in? What does your body is actually telling you that is lacking? And where is this emotional comfort is coming from? Yeah, I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, anything that we dig deeper within the human experience is worth exploring, because on the surface, a thing can look one way, but once you dig deeper, whether it's through Chinese medicine, I study Taoist and the chakra medicine, very similar way of showing the client and working with the client of what actually is going on within their bodies and what they actually may be benefiting from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of wisdom to share with our audience as we are wrapping up the show? Anything
So
you want to share with us?
I'm gonna use the power of 5 again, and we're gonna wrap it up with the fact that we started with talking about the healing power of love, and we talked about our choice of how we use the emotions, and how we can make our choice of how we react to a stimulus. And we talked about love as a healing power. And then I wanted to show you just my way of thinking in 5 elements, just to kind of connect it to the down to earth stuff that we do with patients. But then the power of 5 again. So love as a healing power, and something that I did learn that from my very dear friend Dr. Darren Weissman, the 5 acts of self-love. And when we understand that we can actually heal ourselves, and we can use these 5, they look very simple, but if you go into them, you'll see that they can be really life changers. So I say that there are 5 acts of self-love that we can do daily. And it has to do with water, food, rest, exercise, and last but not least, owning your power. And when we speak about water, the quantity, the quality, the frequency that we drink, so important. The food, the quality, the quantity, the frequency of food, so important. Where do you buy your food? What do you eat? How much?
What intention you eat with?
What intention? Exactly. You know, the very smart thing that you have you have it basically, I think, in all religions, in their pure sense of it, is blessing the food. And so when you bless the food, what intention do you set to your food? Wow, thank you. You know, being grateful. And when we are grateful to our food, when we're grateful to our water, when we are grateful to our sleep, when we are grateful to physical movement, exercise, everything in our body needs to move. That is the 4th. And the last, as I said, but not least, is basically the act of self-love. It's owning your power, meaning be your true self, express your truth, and be real, you know, and be real. Just be yourself, and allow yourself to show your true colors, and love yourself. And when we love ourselves, then we are able to love others. And when we love ourselves, we can allow others to love us. And so these are your 5 homework lessons for today. Water, food, rest, exercise, own your power, love yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roy
Amazing.
Gonik. Anything you want to add, Brooke?
No, that was absolutely perfect way to end, and I could not agree more. Resonates so much with so much of what we talk about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, and thank you so much, and hope to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Roy.
Thank you.